Hi, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Our devotion for today, December 8th, 2022, is from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 22, verses 3 through 6. Then Satan entered into Judas called Iscariot, who was one of the number of the 12. He went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him to them. And they were glad and agreed to give him money. So he consented and sought an opportunity to betray him to them in the absence of a crowd. Our devotion for today points out how easy it is for Satan to enter into us in order to lead us into sin and betrayal and conspiracy. The context is that Jesus and his disciples entered Jerusalem to great fanfare for the Feast of the Unleavened Bread and the Passover. Sometime during the days after his entrance and before his disciples gathered to eat the Passover meal, we are told, quote, Satan entered into Judas called Iscariot, who was one of the 12. He went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him, meaning Jesus, to them. And they were glad and agreed to give him money. The decision to betray Jesus and turn him over to the chief priests was as quick as that, a snap of the fingers. Perhaps Satan appealed to Judas's greed. Perhaps Satan appealed to Judas's desire to open the eyes of the chief priests and other leaders in Jerusalem. Perhaps it was some other emotion that Satan pulled of Judas's that caused him to go to the chief priests. We don't know for certain, but indications are that it was greed. We only know that he did it, and Satan must have held out to him some self-justifying emotion or reason, which, greed would fit. And that's the danger we must all be on the lookout for, lest we ourselves become Judases. Have you ever made a decision that you believed you were completely justified to make, and then it blew up in your face and caused others pain? Of course, you never anticipated that it would cause so much pain. And if you'd known the outcome in advance, you would have never done what you did, right? But now it's too late. You can't take it back. You feel shame, you feel guilt over what has happened. You feel responsibility for it. And you wonder, what was I thinking when I did this? Perhaps you were tilted in that direction, maybe even pushed in that direction because evil entered you and was pulling your strings. We must constantly be on our guard against spiritual attacks of the enemy who wants nothing more than to cause us and those around us pain, chaos, shame, guilt. This is not a battle of flesh and blood. This is a spiritual battle moving around flesh and blood pieces like chess pieces on a chessboard. And like a chess game, some pieces on the board are taken, defeated, hurt, bloodied in moves made in the course of the game. This chess game is between God and Satan. It's between Jesus and Satan. The Apostle Paul tells us to put on Christ and to have the mind of Christ. He does this because if we don't, we are vulnerable to having our mind and our actions hijacked by the evil one. You know what I'm talking about, because you've done things that you were ashamed of, things you wish you could take back, words you wish you hadn't said, things you wish you hadn't done. Satan circles us in order to attack us at all times, and he finds more opportunity on a daily basis to make that attack, especially when we become spiritually lax. We must be on our guard daily. We must put on the full armor of God that Paul speaks of in his letter to the Ephesians each day. My friends, today is a good day to reread Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 18, and be prepared. Go in peace. Serve the Lord.